we're going to continue working on the Tsang Fu. We did the heart. Now we're going to do the liver. Liver is located on what side?
The right side.
Okay, right. Has how many points on its meridian?
14.
14 starts where? Which part of the big toe?
Inside of the big toe at the top.
Okay, okay. Originates on the medial side of the great toe, and ends beneath the nipple, directly beneath the nipple. Okay, its paired organ is gallbladder, and its UN point is liver 3. Okay, well done. Its pathway originates on the lateral side of the great toe, ascending along the dorsum of the foot. It flows further upward on the anterior aspect of the, where the medial malleolus is, okay? It runs upward toward the medial side of the knee along the medial aspect of the thigh into the pubic region. That's why some of the symptoms associated with the liver meridian would be groin pain. Okay, from the pubic region it curves around the external genitalia, okay, and crosses the midline of the lower abdomen. That's why, lower abdomen, okay. Ending directly below the nipple, beginning by the inside of the big toe, it runs all the way up, and often, because it ends here, directly below the nipple, we have this area that we call the hypochondriac area, right? So, this is the hypochondriac. The liver meridian is bilateral, even though we have only one liver, it does run bilaterally. Its color is green. Peak hours is 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. The physical branches, as you already know, are the eyes, tendons, what else?
Tears and nails.
Tears and nails, good. Tears for fears. That's the liver kidney, isn't it? Okay. Functions, it stores blood and makes sure that we have a smooth flow of qi. This is very important. Liver is always connected to free flow of smooth qi. Symptoms, again, are groin pain, chest fullness, hypochondriac pain. You could have swelling of the breasts, okay? Swelling of the lower abdomen, hernias. You can have difficulty urinating and some urination problems. The main indication when we treat women with period pains, gynecological pains, it's usually liver. Okay, liver has over 400 functions in Western medicine, but we're going to just focus on what we've said here. Stores blood and governs the free flow of qi. Again, like always, if there's a pain on the meridian, then we'll look at that. Mental, spiritual aspect is the hun, okay, which is the soul for the liver, okay, and works hand in hand with the shen. H-U-N. Okay. What they say about the hun is that the ethereal soul from the liver provides the mind with inspiration, creativity, and a sense of direction in life. Okay, so it's creativity, inspiration. And the reason that this is so important, the smooth flow of liver qi, and in our treatment principle, we'll often see for people with stress or anxiety in their life or depression, we'll always call it liver qi stagnation, if it's as simple as that. So it's usually liver qi stagnation. And what that means is that the blood is not flowing, okay, it's stuck somewhere. So our treatment principle is smooth liver qi, or smooth the flow of liver qi. So it's really great. And what are some points that smooth the flow of liver qi? Well, the 4 gates would be one, right? Li 4 and liver 3, because that's the whole circuit. Okay, that's a whole connecting circuit. I mean, that's in its simplistic way, but just so you know, okay, that's something we would use. Okay.
So you use UB17.
Oh, you would use, yeah, yeah. Well, depending on, you don't just go for a liver because it's liver point. Has to be what? And generally speaking, the outer shoe points are more for psychological, for psychological challenges. Huh?
Do you use them a lot?
If I feel that a person has psychological, emotional, psychospiritual challenges, I do whatever it takes. Yeah. Okay, so we know that the liver, one of the things that it does, it stores blood, and by storing blood, it also regulates the volume. Okay, because if the blood is not stored, then and there's not enough, we're gonna have blood deficiency. We'll get tired. Okay, we'll get tired. But if everything's fine, then it's going to be great. When the body is active, the blood flows to the muscles. If it's not active, it goes back to the liver. Okay? So if it's flowing correctly, the blood is going to nourish the muscles and the tendons. What point will help?
Have you turned it on?
Yes, it's.
What point will help nourish the tendons? GB34, right, and close to stomach 36. Okay, good. That's very good. Yeah. Okay. Also, the liver plays such a role, if we're talking in Western terms, in the immune system. Because if the organs and the tissues are well nourished, there's enough blood going to them, and that would mean that they're nourished. That means that we're really strong, okay? But if they're weakened and it's not going, there's a lot of obstruction, as well as that you're tired, you'll be more susceptible to the invasion of pathogenic evil factors, okay? Now, liver blood also regulates menstruation. So if menstruation is normal, that means the function of the liver is good. If it isn't, you'll have what? Clots. You'll have amenorrhea, which is no period. Amenorrhea means absence of period, or dysmenorrhea, like it really painful, okay.
Scanty.
Or scanty, which means not a lot, just little drops. Or not every month, like here and there, okay. So if the liver is in excess, or if it's hot, you will have what kind of period? A lot or a scanty? A lot. Okay, a lot. If a heavy, they call it heavy period, yeah. Often painful. Okay, so it's very important when we see women that we always ask them, and there's a whole bunch of set of questions for gynecological symptoms also. You know, when was your last period? When did you start your period? How old were you? Was it regular then? Is it regular now? When did it start becoming a problem? You know, so there's a whole list of questions, just the gynecological, and the Chinese put a lot of emphasis on the gyno questions. Okay, you were mentioning the eyes, that your cat has tears in its eyes. Well, liver blood moistens the eyes and the sinews, liver blood. So it moistens and brightens the eyes. That means that if you have deficient liver blood, what's that going to do? Dry, right, dry eyes. Or liver blood having heat, if there's too much heat, you're going to have red, painful eyes. Okay, again, if the liver blood is deficient, okay, if liver blood is deficient, you'll experience muscle cramps and tendon contractions. I think that's a little more complicated, complex. It's not that In fact, someone's coming to me now. I just had a phone call, and he's had seizures for several grand mal, like epileptic. They call it grand mal. And no one, every specialist, he's going to every specialist. Been for like 8 years now. Once a month, can't drive. They won't let him drive. I think he's about 38. That's hard. Had to move back with his parents. So again, you see how, liver blood can affect one's whole life. You know, they cannot drive, he can't work the same way he did. He was a consultant going here and there. He has to do everything now by phone. These epileptic fits come on because it's wind, isn't it? So it's abrupt, it's on-come when it comes on. It leaves you abruptly. What else is it? It's unpredictable. Wind, right? And again, we're talking about liver. So liver has to do with wood, has to do with wind. So we haven't gone off topic that much. Okay, but you were talking about the contraction or the spasms of muscles if we have the blood deficiency, if the liver blood deficiency. It's a combination. That would be a combination of things. But yeah, that could be one of them. And remember your treatment principle. You can have lung qi deficiency plus spleen qi deficiency. You can have 2 or 3 different items if you can corroborate why they are so. Okay, blood and liver are interconnected. If you have blood that is toxic or abnormal, it's going to affect the liver, and if you have liver that's not doing its thing, full of imbalance, it will affect the blood, it will affect the menstruation. It will affect the quality of blood. Okay, so what we spoke about, how many different types of qi are there, generally speaking? 9. Now, we spoke about the lungs so far, and its qi goes DD, right? It just out and down, so disperse and down. Liver goes which way? Up and outward. Again, there are 2, up and outward. If you have a way to remember that, now, it goes up and outwards, ensuring an unimpeded flow of qi in all directions. In all directions. This smooth flow of qi helps the stomach and spleen qi to descend, the stomach to descend, spleen qi to ascend. Now, think about the liver, think about wood. When we think about wood, an expansion, right? Goes up, and wind goes up into all directions, okay? So, I'm giving you enough symbology and enough cross-references that you'll remember, and you don't have to study the words, because that's not the way this course is being taught. So, the liver is going up and outward everywhere, okay? That's the qi.
Like wind.
Like wind. Okay, like wood, like wind. That's good. Okay. And it helps the qi, especially of the stomach, which goes down. Because if it doesn't go down, it'll go up, causing rebellious qi, like hiccups, vomiting, nausea, yada yada. So we call that rebellious qi. And it also helps the spleen ascend. Okay? Hiccups, cough, vomit, nausea.
Could be heartburn.
Heartburn, yeah. Yeah, that's good.
That's when you drink too much, that's when you throw.
Huh?
You stress the liver if you drink too much, and you start throwing.
Yeah, because because what is drink? It's hot. Like it creates heat in the body.
It
And
dehydrates you.
yeah, so that's, yeah, exactly, well, yeah. So, again, continuing with the smoothness of liver qi, okay? It helps with emotional life, because what is the emotion on our 5-element grid for our liver?
Anger.
Anger. So if the qi is working smoothly, you're not going to have anger. It helps with digestion, as I just stated, with the stomach and the spleen in its directions and roles. And it also helps with because it's connected to the gallbladder, what? The secretion of bile. Okay, so just expounding a little bit on emotional life, when the movement of qi is smooth, then your emotions are going to be smooth, right? You're not going to have all this. Now, what happens with alcoholics? What do we know about their behavior? They have these mood swings, and generally speaking, angry. They're angry and violent, and if they mix it with drugs, it's even, so again, does that make sense? So alcohol is not something that the liver likes, not in excessive qualities, because it disrupts the smoothness of the liver qi. Okay, the stomach. We learned, and again, bear with me if I'm bringing in new material, but as you go on with me in these classes, you will not miss out on anything. For instance, the stomach, my short form is R&R. Okay, and that's to ripen and rot food. Ripen and rot, R&R. So the lung is DD. Descend and disperse, or disperse and descend. Spleen is TT, transform and transport. Liver is up and outward into everywhere. Stomach is RR, rot and ripen. And the direction of the stomach qi is down, descending. Okay? So, again, this is a little bit, if you told a med student that the flow of liver qi allows the spleen to extract gu qi, and the spleen qi to ascend, they'd say, what are you talking about? But you're understanding, right? So the liver qi allows the spleen to do its business, because that's part of what it does. It transforms. It takes the food and transforms it, and then it transports it. So when disease results, the liver qi may become stagnant, stagnant or rebellious. And we already talked about what can happen. So liver is related to stomach and spleen. We can have, as you mentioned, belching, hiccups, sour regurgitation, nausea, vomiting. Now, cough is rebellious qi, but it would be more linked to the lungs. Right? So, belching, sour regurgitation, nausea, vomiting. If the spleen qi is invaded, then the TT function will not work out. It won't be able to transform and transport the food, and instead of flowing upwards, which it usually does, it'll go downwards, causing diarrhea. So when someone has diarrhea, you know that the TT function has been impaired. Okay? You then have to find out why.
I've had it when you actually needle or zap your spleen forward. You can actually feel the energy coming up the legs and the heat dissipating it, so you can actually feel the